Hello YouTube. Today in the Naughty Librarian, I got a big box of smut I'm gonna open up. What I mean by that is I went on eBay and I was like, okay, mystery box, surprise me. And I was like, okay, I want to be surprised. So I just like kind of found mystery boxes for romance. And I was like, yes, surprise me with your smutty delights. Here we are, giant box. Oh my goodness gracious. This is a big box of smut and I'm very excited about it. I've only cut it open. I have not gone through this box. We're gonna find out together what's in here. I'm so excited. All right, let's open up my smut box. Let's do this. Okay, but first things first, it is hot. Oh man, this is Los Angeles in the summer. It is hot. So hair is going up. I don't care if I have a messy bun. You guys will still like me if my hair looks weird. Okay, so this was like lovingly packed for me by an independent bookstore. This is Books on 7th Ave, and they are in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a used bookstore, and it's really important to try to support local used bookstores and regular bookstores right now. Indies, they're having a hard time. We live in a pandemic. Do what you can to help. But yay! So I guess if you're in the Phoenix, Arizona area and you know of Books on 7th, they sent me this lovely book box full of like smutty delights. Let's go! I'm so excited. First book out of the box is Marriage, Maiden, Rebellion by Sophia James. This is part of the Penniless Lords. It's a Harlequin like serial book series thing for historicals. It's kind of about these lords who are just destitute. They're just penniless, obviously, because it's called the Penniless Lords, and they're looking for wealthy ladies to marry. This is about an army captain, Lucian, and he was injured, and he's also a lord, and then he's in Spain, war-torn Spain, and he meets this woman Alejandra who had like nursed him back to health, and he's just like, we should get married, get on this boat and go to my house with me. And then he's like, wait, that's a bad idea, but I want it anyway. One of those. But you know what, I haven't really seen a historical set in war-torn Spain before. They might exist, I just haven't seen them, so that's kind of a cool setting. I'm into it. Yeah, cool, Spain. Next up, I have Libertine's Kiss by Judith James. That is suggestive. So this is like a restoration era, so it's like right after the Revolutionary War in America, so like the late 1700s, early 1800s. And so I guess it's also maybe Regency-esque era, but this is, okay. This is William and Elizabeth. William is, he was abandoned by his father at a young age, and he's just like, oh, well, I'm gonna make something of myself. I'm an army captain and a rake. And like, I'm just libertining it up all throughout the land. Because, you know, libertine is a nice way of saying promiscuous. And then he meets Elizabeth, and she's a Puritan. Oh, what? What? They would not fuck with each other. I mean, they're gonna fuck with each other. Yeah, I don't see it. You'd have to sell me on this one. She's like a Puritan woman who is running from a marriage she doesn't want, and then she meets William, and then somehow he is going to be a lot for her. Puritans were just not fun. They didn't really sound like a fun bunch, so who knows? I don't know. It's a lot going on here. Also in the box was Secondhand Bride by Linda Lael Miller. This is the third in the McKettrick Cowboys trilogy, so it's historical cowboy romance. Okay, so it says, to win his father's ranch, a hard-living cowboy settles down and takes a wife. Another man's wife? It literally has an exclamation point. So it's about this brother named Jeb. I'm assuming their brothers have to get married, I guess, to win a ranch. I don't know. This is the third book of the series, so it's kind of questionable. But Jeb, he's like the youngest brother, the wild child. He meets Chloe. They get married, and then he's just like, you're already married to some other guy? And he gets understandably upset, and he leaves. He's like, bye. He leaves her in Tombstone, Arizona. By the way, Tombstone, very famous Western town for those of you not in America. There is a movie about it that's very famous. I think it won awards, called Tombstone. But yeah, it's a frontier town. And he leaves her there. He's like, bye lady, you suck. And he goes off back to his ranch. And then she's just like, sad. And then she goes off to find a teaching position somewhere else because she's a school teacher, and wouldn't you know, their paths cross again, and she's mad at him. She's like, you left me in Tombstone, and he's like, you were already married. And so they have some things they need to work out. But there's a lot of drama here, and I'm kind of into it. Like, it's so ridiculous that like I'm into it, like I'm in for the drama. I don't know, this is surprising. I hadn't heard of this book before, so thank you. I'm excited for this one. I also got Lady of Sin by Madeline Hunter, and it's actually signed. It's signed by the author. Where are you signed? Okay, it has a book plate that's signed. So that's cool. I got a little signed book. Look at me doing stuff, getting books that are signed. Okay, so our heroine, Charlotte. She is campaigning for women's rights, so I'm assuming this is maybe late 1800s, suffragette era, and she goes over to Nathaniel's place. He's like some type of noble, and she's like, listen, ladies need rights, and he's just like, yes they do. And like, he's very seductive, and she's like, oh my gosh, I was almost seduced. And then she leaves, but turns out these guys already fucked before at like a masquerade. So I don't know how this is gonna work out. It's a crazy historical romance, and suffragettes. I mean, honestly, the plot seems a little ludicrous, but it's signed, so there's that. And who knows, it might be so ludicrous it's great. Sometimes like extra dramatic things are just fun simply for drama, so who knows. Alright, next up, When You Wish Upon a Duke by Isabella Bradford. Kind of like the title. It's like a little quirky title. This is a beginning of a book series about these Wilder sisters, and of course they're wild women. And they're like from the country. She likes riding horses way more than she likes going to dinner parties. She's kind of a wild lady. And then wouldn't you know, all of a sudden she's like, hey lady, you need to get on this train and go to London because you gotta go marry the Duke. And she's like, what? And so she goes to London, she has to marry this guy for reasons, and she marries him, and then what did you know, they just got great sexual chemistry. Like, the wedding night is A+, apparently. Like, they have no problem banging it out. But something happens, he pushes her away, and she's just like, but no! Bring back that D, though! So I don't know what's happening here. Something stupid is gonna tear him apart, probably, but like, okay, why not? I've seen the premise before, but like, I like that they're just like, yeah, the sex is good. No one's like shy about it, so I kind of enjoy that at least. Next, out of the box, I have A Wicked Way to Win an Earl by Anna Bradley, and this is the Sutherland Scandal series. It's also the first book. I'm getting like a lot of first books of series, so I'm appreciating that. Okay, so this is kind of like 10 Things I Hate About You, which is, by the way, one of my favorite teen rom-coms. There's these two sisters, Delia and Lily. Lily is the younger sister. She just desperately wants to be part of society, and Delia's like, I'm like so over it. I'm too cool for that. But she like wants to make her sister happy, so she goes to this party. And then she meets like the bad boy who's just like, I bet I could seduce you. And she's like, oh, can you? And she plays along with it for a while, and then they both play along with it for a while, and then like, uh-oh, they love each other for real. So I like it. It's kind of 10 Things I Hate About You. It's got that trope. I love that trope. So that's kind of fun. It's also very short. Yeah, this is under 300 pages. Like, this is really short, but it could be fun. Who knows? Next, I have The Irresistible Rogue by Valerie Bowman. And oh my goodness gracious, look at that cover. They're just straight up doing it. They're just doing it on the cover. They're like that's not even in the smutty tab. That's just straight up on the cover. There's like, yep, this is what we're doing. This one actually seems good. I know I just made fun of the cover because they're banging on the cover, but like it actually seems kind of fun. So this is about Daphne and Rafe. Daphne and Rafe, they got married and then she hasn't seen him for years. So it's literally just some guy she married and then never saw again. So she's like, oh. And so she's just like, hey, let's just annul this thing. I can go marry someone else. Like, you kind of suck, you're never around. And then Rafe's like, no. And apparently Rafe is like a spy, and that's why he's always off on adventures, because he's spying around. And he needs his wife to like uncover some information, so he's like, I'll let you out of this marriage if you do everything I say. And of course he's gonna be like, you have to be my loving wife so I can get information out of people. And then like they're gonna play pretend, and then it's gonna turn into something real. But I'm like, ooh, he's a spy? Okay, like I'm kind of into it. You know what? I like it. There you go. I haven't read it yet, but I like the premise. Kind of on the opposite spectrum of book covers, this one's fairly chaste, which is Fallen by Celeste Bradley. You know what? This one is I actually really want to read this. The cover is not great. This is not a great cover, but it's kind of like a cool blurb. I'm like into it. So it's about this woman named Izzy. She is approaching spinsterhood. She's just like, oh, the only thing I can do is dream of finding a man at this point. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'm dreaming of all these sexy things. She's like, oh wait, I'm not dreaming, there's a dude in here. And it's this guy named Julian, and he's drunk, and he walks into this bedroom thinking it's his, and he's like, oh, there's a lady, hello. And he starts getting like sexy times, and she's like, I'm into it. And, like, things happen, and then the household of course finds out that there was a dude in her bedroom, which is like a no-no in this time period, and she's like, he's my fiance. And so he has to pretend to be her fiance. However, he's a notorious rake, and he plays the part for a while because he's not a dick apparently. And so, you know, and then they're gonna fall in love for real. It's fake dating. I love fake dating, damn it. I do. I love it. I love it so much. But yeah, this one seems fun. It seems like one I might actually like get into if it's done right. If this is gonna be just dramatic for the sake of drama, it's not gonna work. This needs to be a comedy. So hopefully it's a comedy. Fingers crossed. Next up, I have The Reckless Bride by Stephanie Lawrence. And like, I like her attitude. She's just like, oh, thigh, what? Just casually sexy on the cover. Love it. Okay, so I'm just gonna read you this little bit here. It says, 4 bold, brave, and determined ex-officers of the Crown band together to destroy the traitorous fiend known as the Black Cobra. So, there's apparently a supervillain in town, and I guess this is a quadrilogy. There's 4 books here, and each book is gonna be a different guy, and they're trying to get the Black Cobra, and then he's falling in love with this lady, but literally it tells you really nothing about the plot besides they're trying to get like a supervillain. So, yeah, I don't know what this is about really. But I appreciate her vibe on the cover. Next, I have Deadly Promise by Brenda Joyce, and this is a smutty tab. What's in it? What's in the smutty tab? Oh, that's not even smutty. She's literally just gesturing to a guy. She's just talking. She's like, oh, have you seen the spoons? They're lovely. I don't know if she's talking about spoons. I don't know why they came out of my mouth, but it did. So we all just experienced that together. Ooh, the drama. Okay. This is like love triangles upon love triangles. So this is this woman named Francesca, and this is in America. She's in New York. It's 1902, and she's just like, oh, I'm a lady about town, and I also like to solve crimes, because of course. And then like there's this missing teenage girl, and she's like, I'm going to solve the case. And so she asked the police commissioner, this guy named Rick Bragg, which is such like a cop name if I ever heard one in my life. And she's just like, oh, you need to help me like solve the case. And he's just like, all right. And then she accepts his marriage proposal from the guy who's his rival. What? And then you think like, oh, they'll just get rid of the rival and she'd go off with Rick. Nuh-uh. Rick's already married to this other lady who just showed up after 4 years abroad. And she's like, hey, we're married, right? And he's just like, oh no. And then what is happening? And there's also a murder mystery. There's a lot going on here. A lot. But it's also a murder mystery. I don't know how I feel about it yet. There's a lot of drama here. Oh my goodness gracious. For a hot second, I thought this was Nancy Drew, but it's not. This is The Marrying Man by Kathryn June. But tell me that doesn't look like a Nancy Drew book cover. Like, where's the mystery of the clock here? Like, it's such a terrible cover. Oh my goodness. It's also just ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's this woman named Althea, and then the male lead, Sir St. John Pennyworthy. It's such a ridiculous name. So, good old Pennyworthy. He's like this guy, and he's just like, oh, you know what? I'm very eligible for marriage. I'm gonna find a wife today. And he goes up to Althea, and he's just like, listen, we're gonna get married, right? And she's like, no. And he's like, what? Have you met me? I'm handsome. I don't understand. And she's like, So, that's the basic gist. It's so bad. Yeah, this one is a bad one. Not into it. Her outfit is shitty. No, it's just bad. This is just badly designed all over the place, so this one's kind of a bomb. Unless someone here has read it and it's actually amazing. It doesn't seem like it, though. This one seems bad. Next book is A Hellion in Her Bed by Sabrina Jeffries. Now, I've heard of Sabrina Jeffries before. I have a couple of her books. I still haven't read them. But I have heard her compared to Tessa Dare. But then again, I've heard a lot of other authors compared to Tessa Dare, and no one does it as good as Tessa Dare. So, I don't know. But, like, I have heard her compared to as a similar author with, like, comedic voice and all that stuff, so maybe this is fun. I mean, the cover's, like, a little lackluster, just kind of a guy who's just like, here's my lap, ladies. So this is, like, rival breweries, I think. Okay, so it's like furious at his grandmother's ultimatum to marry or lose his inheritance, Lord Jarrett Sharp wagers his luck and his heart at the card table against a most unlikely opponent. So he's a gambler. He's kind of like a devil-may-care noble person, and he meets this lady, Annabelle, and she's gonna bet him. He's like, oh, if I win this, you're gonna come to my family's brewery and, like, fix it. And he's just like, okay, but if I win, you gotta come to bed with me. I'm pretty sure she wins because all of his plans are out the window now. So he has to go help her at her, like, brewery. And then he finds out some dangerous secrets and he's just like, oh, I need to win your heart. It's just like, this nonsense. This one, it's not a good premise. Like, let's be real. And it's not really a good cover. This is selling itself short. But who knows? Maybe it's good. I don't know. But it doesn't sound good from the blurb and the cover. Next up, I have The Countess by Claire Delacroix, and oh my goodness gracious, this is like 90s romance if I ever saw a book that was 90s romance. Like, the whole cover is just like, oh, here's a hairbrush, how delicate. Like, that is a lot of, like, 90s romances where they just, like, had, like, an item and a flower on the cover and they called it a day, and then you didn't know they were smutty. So I think that's how, like, a lot of, like, girls in the 90s got smutty books into their house without their parents knowing. But if you just open the one page, there's a smutty tab. And it's, like, kind of cool. I mean, there's a horse and a sword, so there's action. Okay, there's just one quote here at the top. Be mine for a year and a day, and I will possess your heart forevermore! There's an exclamation point. There's this woman, her name is literally Countess Elegantine de Crevy. Her name is Elegantine. Who fucking is named that? And then there's this guy named Duncan McLaren. Like, that's a normal name. Who names their daughter Elegantine? Like, that sounds like an old-timey stripper. Like, if there were strippers of the Regency era, like, you know, like Destiny is a stripper name now. Back then it would have been Elegantine. But anyway, she's a countess. She's a widow. She has kids. And she, like, goes to this castle in Scotland because she says, I own this castle. I'm gonna fix it up and then get my daughter's husband so they can marry for love. And then Duncan's just like, I got an idea. I'll marry you. And then, like, Scottish romance ensues. But, like, I really can't get over this lady's name. Like, no one names their people that. That's stupid. This next one is a Western, I think, and this is Abby's Outlaw by Victoria Blynn. And, it looks bad. It's historical Western, and it's about this guy, Reverend John Leaf. He's a reverend, okay? Already I'm like, how sexy is this gonna be? And although the main quote on here is, you gotta face the ghosts, but there's actually no ghosts in there. It's like metaphorical ghosts. And then, like, he loved this lady Abby and left her, like, all these years ago because he was a bad guy then, and now he's a reverend, and he comes back, and she's like, guess what? You have a daughter! And he's just like, oh, and then, like, love somehow. Next, I have The Counterfeit Countess by Cheryl Bolin. This one actually looks almost contemporary. It's just like a bed. It's just a bed on the cover. It's not even a rumpled bed. It's like a nicely made bed. There's, like, a bunch of pillows, like one... Oh my gosh, there's so many pillows. Y'all, there's 12 pillows on this bed. Why? There's 12 pillows. Who needs that many pillows? Sorry, let's talk about what this book's actually about. Okay, I know I made fun of the cover of this book, like, a bit, but it actually has, like, a good premise. I'm surprised. So, there's this woman named Maggie, And she got married to this guy who told her he was an earl. Whoopsie daisy, wasn't an earl, and now he's dead and she's penniless, and she's like, well, shit. So she shows up at this guy's house, the Lord Warwick. She shows up at his house with all of her shit, which is like 14 trunks, a younger sister, a maid, and a very large cat. And she's like, I live here now, help me. And he's just like, no. And then turns out her husband actually like had state secrets or something before he died, so she knows these state secrets, so she's like important to the crown, and he's like, all right, you can stay, I'll keep you safe or whatever. And then like romance happens, and also there's a large cat, so probably funny cat antics, I don't know, but like actually I kind of like the premise. It sounds kind of good. I also got a copy of Highland Princess by Amanda Scott. Okay, you know what, I have other books by Amanda Scott, and I got them because their premises were just absurd. So, oh my gosh, what is this about? Oh, this one isn't silly. The other ones I have by her are just like ridiculous premises. This is about this Lady Mary MacDonald. She is the daughter of the Lord of the Isles, and she's like a very sought after bride. People want to marry her and get the Isles, I'm assuming. And then you have Lachlan, the wily McLean. And he's a Highland warrior, and he has a network of spies. And he just wants to marry her, says he also wants to be part of the Court of Isles. And then, you know, they just keep touching each other and junk. Not as fun. I was hoping for a more fun premise. The other ones are so ridiculous that they seemed fun. This one's not as fun. I also got a copy of Night of Desire by Margaret Mallory, and it's also signed. Another signed book. Look at this. Oh, but it's to Pamela, so Pamela didn't want this. Okay, another one about spies. There's a lot of books here about spies today. That's kind of like a running theme here. But this one is also about spies. So you have this guy, William Fitzallen, and he's like a Highland warrior guy. He shows up, and he's at this castle because he was awarded this castle as like a war prize, except this lady lives there, Kathryn Rayburn. And Kathryn, she's like, I risked everything to spy for the crown, and then what did I get? My land's forfeited, and I gotta marry this guy. So she's like, all right, fucking fine, I'll marry Fitzallen. And then she's keeping secrets, but she gives her body to her husband, but not her secrets, and like that kind of crap. So I don't know, lots of spies and stuff. But I guess Pamela didn't want this because I have it now. Next up, Lord of Sin. I mean, earlier wasn't there a Lady of Sin? Yeah, there was. There was another book called Lady of Sin. So now I got a Lord and Lady of Sin. There's sinners everywhere. This is about this woman named Georgiana, and she's a widow. And she basically just lets lovers only have one night with her because she doesn't want to get attached. And then there's this guy, Ivo, and he's back home in England after 6 years. And so she's like, okay, you were gone for 6 years because of me. You can have 6 nights in my bed, because she's real generous like that. Ivo, he basically risked his life and reputation to fight this duel to defend her honor. I'm assuming he lost. He got exiled. He's back now. And he's just like, I defended your honor, and you're just giving it out around town. Like, what did I do this for? You're not this, like, demure lady, I thought. But at the end of the day, she's offering him a place in the bed, and he's not going to say no. So, you know, it's one of those situations. I don't know. This one doesn't seem like too fun. Not very fun. Who knows? Next, I have Windfall by Cindy Holby. This is another very, I don't know, pure looking cover. It's not very fun. I don't know. What are you about? It's in Wyoming, so it's a Western. And there's this guy, Jake. He wakes up from months of unconsciousness, and his body's healed, but his mind isn't. He doesn't know what's going on. I mean, mind you, his body would not be healed either. He was unconscious for months. All of his muscles would be atrophied. But whatever, this isn't reality. This is a historical romance. And then there's these 3 women, Shannon, Grace, and Jenny. And maybe they're sisters or something, but like, it doesn't really, I'm assuming he gets with Shannon, and they're all doing stuff. But yeah, this one doesn't really interest me that much. Finally, the last book in this box is Maverick Wild by Stacy Kane. And this looks like a contemporary, but it's weird because it says it's a Western, and it was put out by Harlequin Historical, but it doesn't seem like a historical. I'm not sure what's happening. So this is like Cora May and this guy Chance, and Cora May, I guess they were like childhood crushes, and she comes back after all this time. She's like, I need saving, and he's just like, all right, come to my ranch and stuff. I'm just not interested. I could come up with a better thing, but I'm just like tired after all these books. Alright, so that was a lot of books in that box. 20 books I got, mysteries. And a lot of them seemed actually kind of fun and delightful, and then some of them were just not as fun and delightful, but hey, I got like a wide variety of things. Let me know in the comments down below, have you read any of these books, and if so, which ones did you like, which ones did you dislike? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye!